Most people of the world would prefer not to kill each other. If peace is an option, leaders tend to prefer it. Trump's peace plan is simple: a single-state solution with the right of Palestine to exist, and all they have to do in exchange is not kill people. The best part? Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Egypt all have supported this peace plan. Why would they do this when they all hate Israel? Because having peaceful relations with their neighbors is easier than building up armies. In all likelihood, it will not pass, because the Palestinian Authority has denied olive branches every single time in favor of killing every last one of Abraham's line through Isaac. I believe that there is a deeper evil at work here, but that is another topic for another day. Like every other contender for the Democratic nomination, Elizabeth Warren has the false notion that gender is not binary, even though it is. Private Christian schools support God's design, as if that is much of a shock. Warren is not so much against this because it is anti-LGBT, but because she wants money to go to public schools. This way, the government will be controlling the school, and there is an absence of godly morality being taught. Every transgender child can still get a quality education. They just need to use the bathroom for the gender that they actually are. They can go back to make-believe as soon as they leave school grounds. Granted, most children grow out of creating imaginary scenarios like this when they start school, but I digress. In Iowa, there was a man who just decided that he was a woman who is getting freed because he is transitioning to be a woman. You heard that correctly. A man was freed because he is mentally ill. The official reason is that with the lack of testosterone, he will be less likely to commit another offense. Not wanting to be outdone, California has decided that they need to exempt LGBT rapists from the sex offender registry. In other words, a 24-year-old man could sodomize a freshman boy and get off free by claiming that it was consensual, despite the fact that the child cannot consent to anything because he is a child. Touting this as a civil rights issue is ludicrous. If you ask me, these people deserve to be castrated. A father created a Facebook page honoring his aborted child, Liam. He was even raising money for Life Runners, a pro-life group that helps counsel families and tries to save children from the pains of abortion. The father raised more than $5,000 for this group, but Facebook shut the page down. Since Facebook keeps the money, it is unclear presently whether or not he will get access to the money to donate. Apparently, it is against community guidelines to honor a preborn child. Imagine this scenario for a moment. A teenage girl goes to the doctor for an optional invasive surgical procedure. Would she have to have her parents' authorization? Of course she would. At least Florida thinks so. DeSantis will more than likely sign a bill into law that requires parental authorization prior to abortion shortly. The bill also makes not caring for a child born alive after a botched abortion a third-degree felony. Children will be allowed to live without being executed for the crime of being inconvenient. 2019 has had the lowest emissions, and even Forbes is admitting that the United States is leading the world in emissions reduction. Why wouldn't a country like China or many of the countries across Europe lead? The government can just order them to have lower emissions. The thing is that the United States is capitalist, and the companies that are not as successful lose to those that are. Each pound of waste is lost money, and the greedy capitalist realizes this. After countless companies return to the United States because of the lower taxes and loosened regulations, the new factories are going to be more modern and thus cleaner than ever before. Simply put, capitalism is saving the environment while communism and communism light are destroying the environment. It feels so good to be right. If you want the military to leave a country, the Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse and allows them to control funding. Therefore, all that they need to do if President Trump goes too far is to cut funding. This is all they are legally authorized to do. We do not need, nor can we operate if we have hundreds of commanders-in-chief. We need one person that is making the calls. President Trump will veto the bill, and there is no supermajority to overrule it. Signing on to this bill is just for show. These people want to show everyone that they stand against this abuse of power, so that they can remain in power. If they wanted to do something that actually accomplished something, they would cut funding. Unions have been one of the biggest supporters of Democrats for years. Now, a cooking union in New Hampshire is standing against Sanders. The reason? His Medicare for All plan would mean that they would lose the insurance that they had and are happy with. Sanders has not made the same mistake as Obama did by assuring the American people that if they liked their plan, they could keep their plan. Instead, everyone knows that Sanders will take away existing plans. Unions have been the allies of socialist leaders for years. It must be scary to see them as enemies. While Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats are saying that the DOJ should not be politicized in regards to Trump standing by Barr, they did not say the same thing with the partisan witch hunt when it went against Trump. Senator Lindsey Graham claims that half of the people in the center of the Russia investigation are going to jail. While I am not sure about half, he seems relatively certain. The whistleblower, the Bidens, and those involved in the FISA court could all be arrested as well. Personally, I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. Just like I have no sympathy for Jussie Smollett. Actor Jussie Smollett decided that the best thing to do to mend divisions and a lack of political discourse would be to fake a racially charged hate crime. There are homophobic and race-related hate crimes every day, and Smollett took away resources that could have gone to these investigations. He refused to keep his head down, and now he is being prosecuted with community service as punishment. With people like Nick Sandmann winning a suit against CNN and Smollett being prosecuted, we are going to see some changes in not just fake allegations, but also the number of fake stories. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion.